You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, your host star Mo, Glenn, and me, Wole. This is episode 300, so you know what's on and popping. What's going on, folks?
Not much, man. We're getting closer to the draft day by day. Rumors are picking up, and the NFL are changing rules.
I know.
Hey, man.
NFL soft now.
It's a good pocket to be in right now. A lot of news, a lot of conversation pieces for the barbershop, for podcasts. So let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy and Go Everything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Go Everything YouTube channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button and like this video. All right, man. Here it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We are going to address the whole JJ McCarthy rumors, all of it, all the smoke. We're going to take it all in. So, all right, it has been reported that the Washington Commanders will draft Michigan Wolverine quarterback and national championship winning quarterback. I had to add that in. JJ McCarthy with the second pick overall. Do you two believe the reports? I'm going to start with you, Glenn.
No. I think Adam Peters is doing this. No, I think Adam Peters is doing this just to keep the smoke there and keep everything clear and keep a buzz around this team, right? You want to keep a buzz around this team, so you don't want to show your hand too early. You don't want to show your hand because, again, when you think everybody's in play, then that's when offers start coming in, right? Big time offers, right? Now they're like, okay, we don't know who Washington they want to get. It's not a lock for Jaden Daniels. So now if people are like, okay, I want to move up here, will they take this offer? Will they take that offer? And so Adam Peters right now he's playing with a house. He got a full deck open because people are calling. They don't know which way he's going to move. And truth be told, can we be honest? He done just helped JJ McCarthy move up because, again, his name wasn't in the running just a couple of weeks ago. So he's putting more stock on JJ McCarthy. And as some people I watched says this, is always that great white hope, I'm going to call it like it is, that they put up at the beginning of during the draft that you think is going to be good. They got to have a great white hope somewhere because nobody was talking about this dude. It was Caleb Williams. It was Jaden Daniels. Even Drake may even start slipping down a little bit. So they got to bring somebody up in there that will save them a little bit. And why not better? Well, who better than a national championship quarterback, right? That you can put there, who is really a game manager, Wole. Yeah, I know he's a boy in Michigan, but he's a game manager.
It's a little bit more than that. But go ahead, hey Mo, you go ahead.
Do I believe the reports? I don't. I believe it's Lions season. We talked about it before.
Yeah,
this is a lot of smoke and mirrors at this time of year. A lot of news worthy topics come around this time. And it's also, I believe, why a lot of prospects don't throw or participate in certain things at this time because. Like a lot of things can affect their draft stock around this time.
Yeah.
I think JJ McCarthy his name started buzzing once his head coach spoke of him highly.
At the combine.
And leading into his pro day. And then he went out and he had a sensational pro day, as sensational as it can be in t-shirt and shorts. Made all the throws that all the prospects have made over the last couple of years. And I think that surprised a lot of people. I think a lot of people forgot about his athleticism from his
there you go, Mo.
days.
Mo. Yeah, they forgot.
So I think they forgot about his athleticism from his earlier days. And now that he has some cachet behind him being a national champion,
and a 5-star recruit too.
Exactly. Yeah, he has pedigree from the past.
That don't mean nothing going to the NFL.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah.
You'd be surprised when it comes to the quarterback. I think the quarterback position is the only one that kind of makes some sense at. But we'll dive into that a little later. Just having the pedigree, having some cachet now that he maneuvered through the college football playoffs, and defeating Alabama. The way that they won that national championship. Under his guidance, even though they're a run dominant team, he was the quarterback. He did contribute, and once they seen him actually throw and the measurables came out, it's why a lot of these reports are coming. But I do not believe that they're true.
All right, so let me first of all, I'm going to tackle the JJ talk about JJ because I'm honest with JJ McCarthy. Everyone knows that I'm very honest about him. I said to JJ, I thought JJ should have stayed in school, but I'll say this in the argument: if JJ stayed in school, arguably he'd be the first quarterback picked because JJ, if you look at JJ's body of work, he gets better every year. JJ gets, secondly, yeah, he does. He's better every year. And now I'll add this. Look at his
first. I agree with that, but I agree he can get better, but I don't think
he would. I'm just saying, like, think about it. Look how they're talking about, and this is this too. Look at the common opponent. Jaden Daniels played Bama. They lost. And look at his stats. Weren't that great. JJ played Bama. They won. His stats were good. What you asked for and I'll add this. JJ has Jaden Daniels has receivers that can create separation. JJ does not. Look at Michigan's receivers. They get when you look at LSU's receivers, they get wide open. Mow my line.
Not at all.
All right, you have two first rounders. Arguably 2 first rounders. This is not a knock on Jaden Daniels. I'm just saying that if you want to compare what JJ has to work with in terms of the skill positions on the outside, Roman Wilson's his best receiver, and Roman Wilson's going to be a 3rd, 4th round pick.
At best.
At best. His best pass catchers are tight ends. So if you're asking me why is he a game manager for what Harbaugh does, yeah, in terms of running the football, but you know who was a game manager on a certain level? He's not really a game manager, but if you watched him in Stanford, they ran the ball a lot in Stanford, and they had Andrew Luck.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
He just had the tantalizing individual talent.
Yeah. But they did the same. They did the same thing. They ran in terms of he ran the ball a lot. So and if you remember back then when RG3 won the Heisman, after he won the Heisman, there was then talks about is RG3 better than Andrew Luck? There was that talk at the issue. So I'm just saying, you can look at JJ McCarthy and say he's a manager, but really he's more than that. If you really watch all of his games, like I watched all of his games, the only issue I had with JJ is the inconsistency of JJ, because JJ would look good at times and make his receivers look better, and then all of a sudden JJ would be inconsistent and be inaccurate. He had that in him. But in terms of being real, if you watch JJ for what it is compared to all these other quarterbacks, one, JJ's in a pro system in Michigan. That's a pro system they run. Absolutely. Secondly, JJ throws people open. No, these dudes are open. These dudes are already open. JJ throws people open. He plays. So there's a reason why some of the scouts are like he when they look at his film, he does things that these other quarterbacks don't do. Because he's limited. His receiving core was limited, so he had to throw him open. And the other dudes are throwing the dudes who are wide open. Now, all that being said, I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think Washington's taking him at 2. If they were taking him, they better trade back. You don't take him at 2. He's not 2 worthy. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, because especially with Mariota as your quarterback, that means you're gonna have to force JJ in there. And like I just said, I prefer JJ to sit because I do think if JJ sat, you would get the best out of JJ McCarthy in year 2. But if you have him playing with Mariota, and like Mariota will look bad. He's not good enough to hold JJ off, but that's going to make JJ look bad as a starter. So I'm just saying, for real, I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't think there's anything real in it, but I do think that I see why scouts are into JJ. I see why.
Let's go to your measurables, right? Because you using Bama as the measuring stick to say why JJ was better than Jaden Daniels. And when you look at the stats from both been playing Bama, it's pretty much even. Jaden Daniels,
3 touchdowns. I know stats. 3 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels had 2 interceptions. 1 interception, 2 touchdowns. He threw for 2. He got hurt though that game too. He threw for
221 for McCarthy, 219 for Jaden Daniels.
Again, and with who? And then look what I'm saying. Look at my point. With who though? Who does he have? Who does Jaden have? That's my point. Who does Jaden have? Who does JJ have? That's my point. You're right. Who does JJ have? Go look at JJ's receivers. Go look at JJ's receivers.
But if we're looking at stats for quarterback stats,
but
they're almost identical against a good team.
Look, they're identical, but one is playing with lesser talent on the outside. That is the point. One is
I keep saying that matters.
Yeah, that matters.
That is something something that people do not consider.
They don't consider that.
I'm not.
Go ahead, Mo.
I'm not trying to make this a JJ versus Jaden Daniels argument at all, but like I tell people that all the time. Who do you play with matters. Like when we saw Jaden Daniels in his career without all the talent around him, he looked very mediocre. He was a fourth-year senior last year, and he chose to stay in college for the fifth year for a good reason. They were loaded with talent this year on the offensive side, even though LSU's defense took a hit this year.
Yeah, they weren't hitting. Yeah,
and he showed out. He had one game where he went astronomical on everybody versus Florida.
Yeah,
and then all the other games are pretty solid. When you look at the Ole Miss game, they lost versus Ole Miss. They lost to Florida State at the beginning. Ugly loss to Florida State at the beginning of the year, where he only threw one touchdown. He had an interception, and then they lost to Bama in the regular season. So like you think about he didn't make it to the SEC championship to play Georgia, to play one of those teams, right?
Yeah, so you can see Georgia.
So he won the Heisman. We give him that. I'm not gonna like make poo-poo on. I'm not gonna make that small, but like. Why they're tantalized by JJ McCarthy is he was coached by a former NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? Who has a history of developing quarterbacks, slowly developing them, using the run game to supplement what he needs to supplement, and then making them make certain throws and putting them in winning situations. Yeah. Is he a game manager? He is probably he's absolutely a game manager at this stage of his career. Facts. But that's why those throws at that pro day matter. They needed to see that even though he was averaging about 22 throws a game, 22 dropbacks when he's throwing the football, they needed to see if he could make these throws. And on air, at the very least, the ball was coming out on time. It had proper velocity on it, and he was throwing dimes all over the park. You know, everybody's finishing their quarterback, their pro day with that rollout to one side and throwing it to the other hash or throwing it to the other pylon. He nailed that one. So then when they start to look back at his early part of his career, he compares to all the other prospects because he is also a dual threat.
Yeah,
he can extend plays. He has the most experience with a pro-style offense.
No, he does. He does. Other than maybe
May does.
They run a pro style.
Right, but
you under center. You talk about under center. Like, you're not running. You run multiple.
Seasons.
You're right. My bad, bro. You're right.
Yeah, May played 2 seasons. Because
he goes under center. He can play under center. Like and all these other dudes can't do that. Yeah, you're right.
Actually getting under center.
Yeah, he does that.
So it's typically the opposite, right? You want a guy that can get under center that you can spread him out later on.
Yeah.
When it's the opposite way, it's typically harder. So he has a lot of things going for him, but we know he's not the second overall pick. We know that he's all smoke and mirrors right now, but like to just discredit him because a lot of
that's the problem. That's the thing. Like people discredit him.
The kid has a 4-to-1 touchdown ratio for the lifetime of his career.
Yeah.
Like that's saying something.
And to be fair to him, like Michigan, if you look at the for Michigan to get over the hump, they need a quarterback who can make throws to make the throws that Mo's talking about. Because Jim Harbaugh's gonna always run that system. You know what I mean? There's a reason why so many quarterbacks didn't pan out in Jim Harbaugh's system in Michigan, but JJ has though. And some quarterbacks, I can make the argument to tell you that some quarterbacks had better receiving talent than JJ did, and them dudes didn't flourish. Nico Collins, it was like that. And he had bad quarterback play, Don People-Jones, but they didn't ever had a quarterback. JJ got there and they were already gone, so they had to deal with Roman Wilson and whatever. And no knock on Roman Wilson. Right. I'm not discrediting him, but Roman Wilson. So again, it doesn't even compare to what I love Caleb, but doesn't compare whatever Caleb Williams has, and doesn't compare to anything that Jaden Daniels has. Maybe May, because May don't have that much to work with, but yeah.
But so to the question here, what Mo brought up a little bit, how does JJ compare to the other quarterbacks in the draft? Who would the Commanders choose over him? We had a question arranged, but based off of Cliff Kingsbury's system, does JJ fit?
for his system.
Because Kingsbury, like, he air raid, spread the ball around, spread offense. Does JJ fit into that system?
I mean, I think JJ's smart to fit in any system, but does he the best fit would be a person that would be off of the eye test would probably have to be Jaden Daniels. Like, that's an honest question. That's an honest answer. Like, but do I think other dudes can run the system? Yeah. But I've always said, like, again, to what Mo's talking about, do you want your quarterback, whoever this is in college. So this is the thing. This is in college. So do you want your quarterback always in shotgun? That's do you always want your quarterback in shotgun? Because these dudes we just saw
it majority of the time with Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, do you want that, right? You don't want that. That's what I'm saying. Do you want that? Do you want to have do you want to have a quarterback who can be under center where it works out where play action works out because you can trust him in play action, and also now when he's in under center, you don't know if he's going to pass or run. The team's going to pass or run. You have that option. So I'm just saying, like, you have, like,
you don't
as much as we like, yeah, as much as folks are enamored with Cliff Kingsbury, I think we all said this here, like, in the NFL, he's still an unproven commodity. I don't care what you tell me, like, about Kingsbury. He's an unproven commodity in terms of being that one of those dudes as an offensive genius. He's young. Yeah, he's young. And he's done well in college. And a lot of the college quarterbacks he's dealt with have done well in the NFL, right?
They've also had the better talent.
And that too. And I'll add this. They've also, the ones that have been successful have also went to good coaches. Like, would Pat Mahomes be? Would Pat Mahomes? I always ask this. Would Pat Mahomes be Pat Mahomes if he didn't link up with Andy Reid?
He didn't link up with Eric Bieniemy.
Well, Andy Reid's the one who really. No. I know you like Eric Reid. Andy Reid's the one. I love EB, but Andy Reid's the one. He makes everybody look good. I'm sorry. Andy Reid's done it for everybody. EB's part of it. Don't get it twisted, but Andy Reid's the mastermind. Andy Reid's the mastermind. So, like, it always depends on where
Kingsbury has a mastermind with him, though. Kingsbury has a mastermind with him. Brian Johnson. Johnson from Philly.
Johnson is he struggled with the second half.
Brian Johnson from Philly.
Is he a mastermind?
Is he a mastermind though? I wouldn't call him a mastermind.
But he had the Philadelphia offenses running.
But so this is the thing. That's a different. All right, so you got a lot of
smart minds in the room. So it's not gonna be it's not 100% sold on Kingsbury, but there's a lot of smart minds in the room that's gonna help mix this thing and make this thing.
No, it should. I like Lynn more than I like Johnson. I won't even lie to you. I like Lynn more than I like Johnson. I think I was high on Johnson initially because I was like, he should get a head coaching job. But in the second half of the season, it didn't pan out for him. And also, just like we talk about EB didn't pan out for his second half of the season wasn't good. And also Jalen Hurts had issues with him. And that's why it didn't really work out even more. So I don't know how like he's a question mark too, to be real with you, bro. Like, he a question mark too, because he's the OC because old boy left, right? He went to Indy. So he went to Indy. So the jury's still out on him as a guy who can do it for a long part of the season. The jury's out. Like, you don't know what he can do for real. But I don't back to the initial question, if we're talking about how does he compare to the other quarterbacks, I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, but in terms of quarterbacks, I'm not putting Caleb Williams in that discussion because he's going one. I'm not even putting him in the discussion. But those other quarterbacks,
I mean, when you
go ahead, I'll let you go, Mo.
If we break it down, like, him and Jaden Daniels have the same stature, about 6'3", about roughly around 200 pounds.
No, he's now 216 now. McCarthy, he's 216 now.
216. Well,
he put it. Yeah. But you're right, though. I know you're talking about. No,
they've had to put on weight, right?
Yeah.
They're both pretty frail for their frame.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is more of an exceptional runner by tape and what we've seen, by athleticism. I think that what we've seen at the pro day, he showcased his arm. He can throw the deep ball on time. He can put it in places. The velocity. A lot of people were wowed by him at the pro day. Everything that we've seen Jaden Daniels do on tape already. Yeah. JJ McCarthy, I think, went and made good for himself at his pro day because he didn't get to display that on the field because of the style of offense that they ran.
Yeah.
Right. as it pertains to the Commanders and the offense that they're potentially going to run, we know it's going to be a lot more spread than it is going to be traditional pro style offense. Right. And I agree with Wole. I believe that JJ will be able to go the other way, going from under the center to running the spread offense, because they're typically the reads are already done for you.
And they did in high school.
They've
been doing that in high school.
Right.
And he runs it a little bit of it. And to your point, they run a little bit of it in Michigan anyway. It's just not the predominant. It's just not the predominant offense. They run it in Michigan. They run spread.
If you look at Cliff Kingsbury's quarterbacks, a lot of them were predominant, like especially Kyler Murray. That's why they had the addition of D-Hop that year. Yeah. While he was there, like he's a one-read guy.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Hike the ball, get it out your hand now, or get it out hot. And let the guys do what they do after the catch. So I don't think that's above JJ's skill set.
Yeah,
it's a matter of how they call the game. Yeah. When they get into them tight quarters and they need somebody that has experience managing the game, not getting besides themselves, trying to be Superman all the time. JJ, he's going to show himself. He's going to prove himself to be a commodity there, right? Because he has that experience. It's as if he's somebody that has been.
He's like a vet.
Like they have a rein on him. He's had a rein on him for a while, just waiting to be released.
Yeah.
So I think it has the opposite effect. So it'll be worthwhile to see. I think the easy choice is Jaden Daniels. Yeah. I think that a lot of people are sleeping on Drake May.
Me too, bro. I think people keep sleeping.
Y'all know I've been saying this since day one. My choice has always been Drake May. I've been saying this since day one. That Drake May would be a better fit for the Washington Commanders. I've been saying it, and he went to talk with JJ McCarthy. I'm like, Drake May 6'5". We ain't got to worry about putting no weight on him.
Yeah,
he's your prototypical quarterback. He's the guy. He can still move at 6'5". When I see Drake May, I think about Ben Roethlisberger, right? And I say the same stature frame when Big Ben came in, being a bigger guy, being a physical guy, being able to make the throws. Of course, we talk about North Carolina. They don't have the pedigree as a LSU or a Michigan, but they still were quality teams. And he still put up good numbers with not too many great receivers.
I agree, same thing. I agree with that argument. That's why I like him. That's why I like him too. That's why I like him too.
Some of the comparisons that Drake made just leave you like wowed. Like I've heard that he's somewhere in between Andrew Luck and Justin Herbert. Whatever that is good enough for me.
Yeah.
Whatever that is good enough for me, especially when you add the fact, like we've mentioned, he didn't play with top tier talent.
No, man.
No.
He ain't play with Yami Brown.
Like if you look at his first year on the field where he played with one NFL receiver, Josh Downs, that plays for the Colts. Yeah. He put up 4,000 yards passing. He put up another
as a redshirt freshman.
38 touchdowns. He had like another 700 yards rushing, 45 total touchdowns as a true sophomore.
Well, sophomore, the redshirt. I thought it was not the redshirt year. I thought he had a good redshirt year too, though.
He sat behind.
I know how his redshirt, but he redshirt.
No, he redshirt.
He didn't redshirt that year. Okay.
No, he played in 21. He played 28. He played 4 games in 21. He did redshirt because they got that new rule in college where if you play at least 5 games,
I thought they called it his redshirt year. I thought the year you're talking about what they called his redshirt year. But I could be wrong though.
It's a redshirt year because you can play up to 4 games and you can still redshirt in college.
Well, go ahead, Mo.
Hey, when I think of redshirt, I think of it traditionally at our time.
I know you're right. No, I got you. Go ahead.
Like, he never sat a year where he didn't touch the field.
Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah. So with that, I think that there's a lot to ponder there. Like I said, we all know that this is the time of year where a lot of news cycles, people are just throwing stuff out into the media so that people can have something to discuss, and teams are throwing smoke screens out there so that you don't know exactly what they're going to do.
Everywhere.
You know what I mean? So that you don't know exactly what they're going to do. But I think either one of the Drake Mays or the Jaden Daniels would work. Mm-hmm. I think we can argue all day about who would work better. One is prototype. One is more of the new style quarterback. And he'll probably be better earlier. Yeah. But I think this organization, with the opportunity to get a quarterback with the number 2 pick, does not want a repeat of the last time they had the number 2 pick with a quarterback. Sorry. They would like for there to be some longevity with this quarterback, no matter who the coordinator is. So that emphasis on Cliff Kingsbury's offense, I really don't think should be the case. It should be the best possible guy that can run it because we've discussed on previous shows, if there's success, Cliff Kingsbury is gone anyway.
Yeah.
If there's not success, he's also gone anyway.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
You need a guy that's going to be multiple. that's going to be able to run multiple systems no matter what the situation is in 3 to 4 years from now, especially when it's time to pay them.
And go ahead, Glenn. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, you good, because we've been bouncing around all the other questions, so I just wanted to get to the one that's more important.
Go ahead, go for it. Go to it.
The more important question is this: we talked about they draft him, he fits into the system. We go, all that's fine. How will the fans react to JJ McCarthy being selected?
So
that's the most important one. How will the fans react to JJ McCarthy being selected
X, right?
as a number 2 overall pick?
I'm on X. I'm known to be a troller with these folks. So they're already already in their feelings about it possibly being JJ McCarthy. So they wouldn't respond well. But my response to that is for them is because everybody, I think I said this before. Everybody's on this like you pick a quarterback, like you gotta be a blood. You pick this quarterback, you gotta be a Crip. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, so whatever you do is like, how you gonna do that? I ain't ride for him. You gotta ride for my dude. You supposed to ride for this dude. So everything on the other side is like they look for something, anything negative. Everybody looks up on their little. Everybody's an NFL scout now, right? Oh man, look how he threw that pick. But everybody knows you watch college football enough, you're gonna find a mistake about everybody.
Yeah,
like you know what I'm saying. Like I look. I talk highly of Caleb Williams. But if I want to go look at something negative about Caleb Williams, it's easy to find. It is.
I know him having a pink. Him having a pink.
That Notre Dame game. It's easy to find, man. It's easy to find.
Go watch any Utah game you want to watch.
Yeah, Utah game. Go watch any Utah game. Easy to find.
Watch. If you want to watch. Teammates say he quit on his team. I look at man's character and personality. Teammates say he quit. Man,
look, I don't. No, they look. That's.
I can argue.
We say no though. We say no, but I tell you this: you don't think the scouts and the managers and the executive committee? I mean, of course, probably don't want to pick. You don't think those people ask them about that?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Chicago gonna get him anyway. They're already traded quarterback. What you gonna say?
Hey, Glenn, I can argue that his defense quit on him every game.
Yes, that too.
Every game.
Yeah, that too. So all right, so. Even that, so off Caleb. But in terms of the temperature, yeah, they'll be pissed, man, because people are so fixated on either Jaden Daniels or Drake May. That's all because that's all that's been talked. So that's all they think about. Is now that JJ's come into like play, or the rumor that JJ's come into play. Now everybody's like, they go to the stats. They go to seeing what JJ did in Michigan, like, oh, he didn't run they didn't watch him play. They go into the stats and say he throw for like 40 touchdowns and 4 picks. He didn't do that, or he didn't, or like he wasn't like Drake, man. He didn't do this like was one of as a redshirt freshman or sophomore, true sophomore. He didn't throw for this amount of yards. They get fixated on that, regardless of looking at what he did against certain competition. Like for instance, I can go and look at Drake and look at my man McCarthy and say, you know what? Go watch the game against Ohio State last year. Not this year, the year before last. The game in Columbus. Not the game in Ann Arbor, but the game in Columbus, and how he helped will that team to a victory against a tough Ohio State team with nothing but NFL first rounders. I can go there. Or I can go to this year where, this season where Alabama, like they had a stranglehold in that game. Alabama was about to beat Michigan, and how he helped will their team back. You know what I'm saying? No one's going to talk about those games because they didn't really watch those games. But what they did watch is a little bit of clips on YouTube, and also they looked at Sports Reference and looked at game logs and look at stats. And that's cool.
What it comes down to is what all the commotion that Cam Newton started this year about game manager versus game changer, right?
That too.
Like a lot of fans are fickle. We've spoken about that all offseason. Fans are fickle. A lot of fans do not watch college football like exclusively or enough to gauge a quarterback. Yeah, that's one.
That's one.
They go to the highlights immediately because we're a highlight-driven era, right?
Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. And then the teams that the narratives are surrounding are the ones that they typically look at.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people don't even watch Michigan games until Michigan plays Ohio State.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Until they play Ohio State.
That's the only game. That's one of the only games on Thanksgiving. To your point, yes. A lot of people don't watch
that
Michigan.
Matters,
I'm just saying,
right?
but when you're assessing a player, though, it still does matter, though.
Exactly.
It matters.
You got to watch game by game and see how they evolve over the course of the year.
Yeah, that's why.
You got to understand what kind of offense they're running and what their responsibilities are. But when you see, you have to do all that for Jay to understand JJ. When you turn on ESPN every week and you see Jaden Daniels running around the Southeastern Conference going crazy because LSU is going to be on primetime network TV multiple times a year, like you're going to get enamored by that. And it's an exciting brand of football that he played last year.
It's a better brand. It's a better brand of football.
Like Wole said, Malik Neighbors and LSU had their
4.35. He ran a 4.35, bro.
He ran a 4.35 and a 42-inch vertical. All they did was show clips of him. He's running and separating from DB 6, 7, 8 yards with the ball in the air. Because they have so much other players on the field that put pressure on the defense. Right? When you have that many ballers on the field, the defense is spread thin, and now your individual talent just goes crazy.
Yeah.
That's something that JJ didn't have the luxury of. I'm not saying that makes JJ better than Jaden.
But to your argument, most people say, yo, they all Division I athletes. And so it's all Division I.
That's not fair.
I mean, that's the argument. When you get to the NFL, they all NFL players, right? So again, we see young quarterbacks struggle coming into the game, into the season, right? We see young quarterbacks struggle sometimes late because they got to play catch up with the speed. They realize that the corners are just as fast, the DBs are just as fast. I mean, the DBs, the corners, the safeties are just as fast. And with JJ, and I'm not saying JJ is a bad quarterback. I'm not saying I agree with you guys where most people don't watch the totality of the game or watch players in depth to get a true picture of a player. But what you got to realize too, that these guys are coming into an NFL system and you're playing against veterans. So what I look at when I look for a quarterback coming to the next level, which one can mature the fastest, which one can catch on the fastest, and which one can catch on to the NFL way of football the best.
What's the metric
for that? But no, if that's your metric for that though, if you really say who can catch on to the NFL game faster.
And what's your metric for that?
I would go with the dude that's been.
How do you quantify that?
But no. But let me leave it. I would go with the dude who's been in the NFL system then.
In the NFL system, which I'm saying, I'm not knocking JJ.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not knocking JJ. I'm not knocking JJ McCarthy, but I'm saying the Washington Commanders are trying to make a pick for a number 2 pick, and you don't want, as you said, Mo, you don't want to make a dud, right? Yeah. You want to make a splash. The number 2 guy, if you pick a number 2 guy, he's supposed to be your franchise guy. Yeah. He's supposed to be your franchise dude. So when you taking all this in consideration, even the fans, when I'm going back to Wole's point, as a fan, you have to look at it. Which one of these guys, whether I like him, whether he's a human highlight reel or not, I need him to be able to get this game win. If he's a game manager and he takes the Commanders to the Super Bowl, nobody cares.
This is facts. Yeah.
No,
nobody game manager beginning.
Right. Brock, they call. You talk. Go back to Cam. They said Brock Purdy. Brock was a game manager, right? But it was Super Bowl. He played in Super Bowl, right? So again, I don't care. You don't think the Cowboys wish Dak Prescott was a game manager and then get to the Super Bowl? You see what I'm saying? So when people say when the fans say game managers, they're fickle to Wole's point until the team has success.
Yes.
Or when the team starts losing, he's a game manager. When they're winning, he's the greatest thing in the world. So this pick, as Adam Peters and those guys are picking, and as fans are looking, fans got to realize the Commanders need to do what's best for the Commanders and not the fans.
Indeed, and that's why I've always said Drake May since
me too.
End of the year because he's the prototype in terms of height, weight, speed.
He can run.
He played in a system that had some professional concepts.
Yeah.
He didn't play with a lot of talent, so a lot of it was on him.
Yes.
The arm talent to the naked eye was on display. Yes. He could make every throw on the field. He has some mobility. And you'll take his tools and you'll take his tools and some of his deficiencies and you'll work on that as long as you're willing to coach it. Yeah. Because what he does can spread across multiple types of systems and multiple types of offenses. And he's already proven to you on the college level that he can play with less talent and still produce at a clip that makes him garner some respect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And we'll go to Drake May in terms of I'm getting my beer off of JJ a little bit for Drake May because it's a similar argument to JJ. To be honest with you, it's a similar argument. like working with lesser talent. And to me,
even though JJ did have
no, the backs are there, the running backs.
Football.
Oh yeah, exactly. There was a good offensive line, but but know what? That's how you're supposed to build your team, though.
No, absolutely.
That's how if you're Washington, that's how you're supposed to want to build your team. You know what I'm saying? You want to build your O line like Philly build their O line. Like there's a reason why people love Jalen Hurts, right? They love Jalen Hurts. But why was Jalen Hurts so successful? What were some of the main reasons why? Because they kept him clean.
That protection.
Yeah, protection. So it took like he held the ball. He held the ball. Yeah, and he held the ball and was able to go through his progressions because he knew he wasn't gonna get touched. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to. He was never hurried. Well, let me not say never. He was rarely hurried. All right, he was rarely hurried. If I'm Washington, that's how I'm always gonna look at it. Period. Like I'm never gonna go into a situation, especially with a young quarterback. I don't care who you pick. I'm not going in a situation where I'm not trying to address my O-line. Because if you're a young quarterback and your O-line is trash, you're not going to look good. I don't care who you are. You're not going to look good. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you got to have the best pocket in the world, because that's what you're right, Mo. That's what JJ had to do. He had one of the best pockets, clean pockets in the world when he played with Michigan. That's a fact. No way, like that's a fact. But you're not going to always. But anyway, you're not. But Jaden ain't gonna get. Jaden's offensive line was solid enough. They're not gonna get that situation here in DC. They're not. They're none
People
of them.
Talk about Drake May. They talk about
Drake May didn't have a good pocket. Like he didn't have a clean pocket.
They talk about his feet and him being sloppy with his feet. But that's the result of not having a line.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Like so when
that's my
thing. But go ahead.
No, you good. I was just saying, back to your point about Jalen Hurts and go to Drake May. One, and me, I'm always running football. When Philadelphia, when Jalen Hurts wasn't getting touched, the Eagles were running for 200 yards a game. Right? They're running 200 yards a game. Go back to the line. If you don't want your young quarterback to get touched, have a running game.
Oh, I agree. But again, it goes back to what we talked about. And all right, so to your point, back to CJ, that's what CJ does. He works on, JJ, he works off the run game. That's what he's worked with. Like that's his system. But again, so the overall, your first question about like Cliff Kingsbury, that's the question. That's the thing. It's about what Cliff Kingsbury, which offense is he trying to run?
What is Anthony Lynn commit to?
Yeah, what he's gonna commit to. Like the cool thing is and I mentioned Anthony Lynn. He had Anthony Lynn, who is a guy who manages the run game. Like you would want to say he'll commit. You would hope that he would commit to the run game. You would hope.
Yeah.
But if you look at Cliff Kingsbury from far away and what his history has been, I ain't Cliff Kingsbury. He gets the ball out to Mo's point, which I do think benefits Jaden Daniels if he's the quarterback. It is a one read thing. That's what he does. It's a one read thing. Did with Kyler Murray. That's what he does. It's a one read.
And then people always talk about Kyler Murray's ability to extend the play.
Yeah.
It's either he's hitting them right now or he's running around back there like he's in the playground. Somebody gets open and he throws the rope.
Yeah, because he has, and that's why I said
you have receivers to get open.
Yeah, and that's why I said before, like when people were talking about like the Jaden Daniels and like argument, I was like, and you keep using Cliff Kingsbury as an example, like who he's had and comparable. I'm like, Kyler Murray a different beast from Jaden Daniels, and they're very different. And yes. I'm not an argument. Kyler Murray's the better quarterback in terms of what he can do. He's shorter, but he's the better quarterback. You know what I mean? Because he scares defenses more. He's going to scare you because what he can do with his video game like movement.
His twitch.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? His twitch. Like you can't size him. Like for instance, if you try to size him up, he can juke you out. Jaden Daniels don't got the same movement as Kyler Murray. They're different. No. Their twitch is different. So it's, you know what I mean? So he's one cut go, and when he can be gone. So I'm not saying he don't got that athleticism to be gone. But I'm saying, like, it goes to Killer Cliff Kingsbury. Dude, you weren't that successful with Kyler Murray at the end of the day. Like, you started off kind of hot, but the end game wasn't sweet.
Yeah, everybody caught up.
So you're going to do that. So do I expect you, where a guy like Jaden Daniels, who's a one-cut go type dude, do I expect you to really like kill with Jay Daniels? I think a lot of people keep thinking about Shanahan RG3 and think they can get that type of success off of year one. And I'm like, be careful.
You get Jaden Daniels. If they do that, Jaden Daniels will be like Richardson last year.
He better throw than Richardson. I'll give him that though. He's a better thrower than Richardson.
No. I'm saying if you keep running him, he end up. If you keep running him,
I don't think he's gonna run him though. I do think they're gonna try. See, I envision Jaden Daniels. Since we're now on Jaden Daniels, I envision that he's gonna try to do RG3-ish stuff with Jaden Daniels. Like that's how I look at it. I don't think they're gonna run him like that because I think he's not like to Mo's point. Like we talked about, I don't think his body will be able to take the hits that Richardson.
And that's my point. That's my point. His body won't take it, so he'll end up hurt like Anthony Richardson. I think,
I don't think they'll do. I think they'll be smart. I think they'll be smarter. I think they'll be smart enough not to put him in that type of situation. But go ahead.
You also have to account for the fact that if Jaden Daniels he's gonna run on pass plays too because you might not see something on the playmate breakdown, and
that's gonna happen.
They're gonna take off. So
that's what happens young quarterbacks. That's gonna happen.
So it's not even. It doesn't even have to be dialed up for him.
Yeah, I agree.
For the result in the run.
I agree. I totally agree with that. So we at now, y'all. Where we at? Who got the next one? Because I'm chilling right now. I like this. I like this vibe, man. I'm chilling. I'm not hosting. I'm like, I like, you know what I'm saying?
So,
you know man, I love it. I love it.
Do y'all believe what LA Chargers coach, former national championship coach at Michigan?
Thank you for mentioning that. It's pre-national championship.
Harbaugh's assessment of McCarthy that he's the best quarterback in the draft at quarterbacking. I think that was a nuance
quarterbacking
in there.
Yeah,
he's the best quarterback in the draft at quarterbacking. Do we?
I know exactly
that assessment.
I agree with it.
Based off the wording and assessment, I kind of agree with that, right? Because he, as you both guys pointed out earlier, and you mentioned it, he's been groomed to be a pro-style quarterback. Yeah. From a pro-style coach who was a quarterback at a high level in the league, right? Yeah. So I can imagine you get a quarterback from the league who's your head football coach. Those quarterback rooms at Michigan is totally different from quarterback rooms at places where the coach has never played in the NFL, right? I can imagine that Harbaugh is running his quarterback room like they ran it when he played in the NFL. So, of course, he is NFL ready for us quarterback wise, terminology and playbook wise, how big it is, the understanding everyone's assignments, right? Understanding where the ball's supposed to go, how quick he's supposed to get it out. I'm not doubting JJ McCarthy's intelligence, not doubting his ability, not doubting his talent. Is he ready? Yes. Only thing I would just say, I don't think he's a good fit for the Washington Commanders. But again, that's that digress. But I think he has the acumen to be a very good quarterback in the league. I think he has a good acumen he knows how to read and dissect the defense. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're looking for, a quarterback that comes in the league.
So I know it. I mean, Jim is biased, so I get what Jim's doing. That's what Jim does.
He's selling his boy.
He got to. I mean, he does. I mean, he's going to draft my man, my running back. He's going to draft him too. You know what I'm saying? The local kid. I'm having a moment. That's my Blake Corum. Thank you, man. Blake Corum. He's going to draft Blake Corum. So, but he's right though, and that's we had this discussion earlier. We talked about it basically. Being under center, be able to check out a plays. He's done that in Michigan. Being able to, like, when a play is dead, throwing the ball out of bounds. He does that a lot. He's not trying to force it. He doesn't try. He rarely throws a cross body pass unless it's true desperation. He rarely does that. He does what you want any quarterback to do. Like, you know what? And it's like down and distance. Like, measure the down and distance situation. What's the risk of this? He does all of that, like in a football game. You know what I mean? So in terms of quarterbacking, and put your defense and your offense in the best situation to be productive, that's what JJ does. You know what I mean? That is a reason why he threw for like close to 70% as a passer. You know what I mean? There's a reason for that. Like, he'll take I call it the Tom Brady approach. He'll do the check down. He's cool with doing the check down. You know what I'm saying? And that won him football games. Huh?
He really does pick and choose his spots.
He does.
He complements the run game very, very well.
Very well,
he has the run game behind him. They stay ahead of the sticks. He makes throws when he has to make throws. Yep. And, you know, the rest of it is play action, and he'll take a shot every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And if need be, he'll extend the play to let athletes be athletes. So he has everything he needs to manage a game. And I don't want to say manage a game in a way where it's like derogatory, but like he manages the game very well to make the team, to put the team in position to win. And then at the end of the day, as you said earlier, Glenn, to your point, nobody cares if you're a game manager if it's resulting in wins. They only care if you're a game manager and you cannot make some of those exceptional throws when things are tightly contested and you need to be more than a game manager, right? Yes. So that was always my criticism of Cam's take on Purdy and guys like that. And like we said, he throws with anticipation, similar to Purdy.
Yeah.
Right? But he also has the arm strength. Like Purdy and those guys have to throw in anticipation, similar to Kurt Warner way back in the day, because the arm strength wasn't truly there.
Yeah.
Right? Your Chad Penningtons of the world. We look at those guys as true not Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner is a dog. Yeah. Like we look at those guys as true game managers, but like McCarthy also has the arm talent that if need be, he can make an exceptional throw, tightly contested windows that will lead to winning plays.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's what you need, though. You want him to be able to make every throw. If they go with him, he has to be able to make every throw in that system. He has to be able to make the throw, the deep ball to a Terry McLaurin, to the ball coming across the body to a Jahan Dotson who's on the route tree, stemmed the way to get open, right? You got to be able to do your check down, whether it's Austin and whether it's Eckler out of the backfield or if it's Brian Robinson.
Eckler would be his best friend, I'm telling you. Eckler would be his best friend.
Or you got to be able to find a Zach Ertz, right, dragging across the field. So he has to be able to make those throws
would be his best friend
to the guy. So again, to that point is whoever comes into this organization, because the offensive line is not 100% where you needed to be at. It's better than last year on paper, right? On paper, it looked like it's better than last year. Yeah. This quarterback has to be able to get the ball out quick and get it to the receivers.
You know what? I ain't never thought about that. You know what? You kind of like had me thinking. Like they do got a lot of pieces that's good for JJ. I never.
They got a lot of pieces that because
JJ loves the tight ends. They got Ertz, who is a very intelligent tight end who can get open. He loves his tight. If you look at Michigan, he loves his tight ends. The check down.
Ertz had a great
back out of running back.
Had a great season. He had a great season, and when Kingsbury was in Arizona, he was one of the good seasons.
That his first year, yeah. And then you have like Eckler,
the running back out the
backfield, and then you got a power back like he used to Michigan.
You got a number one receiver.
You got number one receiver, but it's probably, but he's never had a receiver like Terry or Jahan in Michigan,
right?
Yeah, I mean. It really would be to be real with you. It really would be for him to come here, for them to draft him. It would have to be protecting him, but also it would have to be Cliff. To me, I don't like I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like his mesh with Cliff. I just don't think he would mesh.
No.
I just don't think. I'm being real. Like I don't think he meshed with Cliff.
If they draft him, they better be ready to answer the question.
Yeah, like Mo and like what we all said here. Like he can do everything. Like he can do spread. I'm not saying he can't do spread. But I don't think Cliff would put him in a position to be I don't have that high. I'm not really that high on Cliff Kingsbury. So we just keep it a buck. And I just don't think that even for Jaden Daniels, I don't think he has I think Cliff Kingsbury, I think he can set him up for like a year, but I don't know if he can set him up for longevity. That makes any sense. And I don't think that, but for Drake May, I just think Drake May is ultra talented. I don't think it matters. But I think that Jaden Daniels, because what you see at LSU is it's pretty much one read and go. It's not like you reading the whole. I don't think he's reading the whole. I personally don't think he's reading the whole field.
I'm not reading the whole field.
I could be wrong though, but I personally don't think he's reading the whole field.
But I don't think he's reading either.
I do think that sometimes you do need to be pushed though. You know what I'm saying? Like in the league to teach you to get you to see everything. And I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive mind to get Jaden Daniels where he needs to get to be like that quarterback everybody wants him to be. Do you agree, Mo? Because you probably watch it. I think you watch him more than I do, so I'm not gonna lie to you.
I watched a lot of
some other quarterback. You got some quarterback coaches there that can help him out, though. But go ahead.
No, listen. As long as any one of these guys gets the coaching that they need,
they could be with
fit because it's talent all across.
Tracks.
It's talent all across. Like JJ had the biggest questions about his talent, and I think a lot of that was answered at his pro day.
Okay, I hate pro day. But go ahead though.
And I think he only had those questions because of because of the sheer number of passes that he.
Yeah, I know that's facts. No, I get you.
Right.
I get you.
So because his numbers weren't as eye popping as the other two, well, we say other two, but we know Caleb is the third. So
yeah.
so he doesn't count. Yeah. So things like that. But JJ's. I'll tell you this: at the very least, JJ's drastically increased his draft stock.
Yeah.
I think he went from third, fourth round to first round. I don't see him going past. If everybody stays put, he's no way he gets past the Denver Broncos.
Where's Minnesota at?
Minnesota's 11 and 12. Minnesota
so they're trying
and
to trade up
back to back.
They're trying to trade up by now. They're trying to trade up.
So I think teams are like pushing the deal to have to trade up. But if they really just sat there, like
I think it could happen.
It could happen.
I think
the only two people that really need to trade up is Denver and Minnesota because they're both vying for a quarterback.
For that spot, yeah.
Right, and they're right behind each other in the
Raiders,
draft.
right? Where the Raiders at? Where the Raiders at in the draft?
The Raiders are somewhere around there too, but the Raiders, I don't see the Raiders drafting the quarterback.
They say they want one. I mean, AP said he want one. Don't know.
But
Raiders are 13. So Raiders come right after them.
They in that same slot.
The three teams that you talk about quarterbacks, you got Minnesota, who's 11, who needs a quarterback. Denver, who's 12, who needs a quarterback. Raiders, 13, who needs a quarterback.
Hold on. So let me do this right. So the first three players will be quarterbacks. So the first three in the draft will be quarterbacks.
Then like Arizona's getting next four. Then three.
Arizona's getting receiver. Who else? Who's five?
3 of the next 4 getting receivers. The Chargers are the one that we don't know.
Who?
The Chargers are the one we don't know.
Yeah, because Jim Harbaugh said he's talking about getting offensive lineman. I heard.
He could have, but if they got Rashawn Slater, so he could use Alt. But if he gets Alt, then 3 of the next 4 should be wide receivers.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah. So that's all the way up to 7. So then Tennessee would have Tennessee.
So your Giants don't take a quarterback? The Giants don't take a quarterback? There's a quarterback on the board?
Not if it's JJ McCarthy. They can't make the Daniel Jones mistake twice.
Yeah.
We're the team
that can. But y'all still rocking with Danny DeVito? I mean, Tommy DeVito?
Listen, they got
Daniel Jones getting a lot of money. And you tell me that they're going to pass for a quarterback?
I think y'all would take JJ. I think y'all would take
JJ. I think the Giants would take JJ.
I think y'all would take JJ.
Daniel Jones has to make $40 million next year.
Oh, he still got to play next year, though, right?
He has to play next year. Like they've already said that he's going to be quarterback number 1 next year. It's already cemented.
Yeah, but you know what, JJ? So the same thing I talked. You know what though? I mean, I would hate it. But
if JJ went over there and sat.
Yes, I get it. That fits.
But but JJ wouldn't sit long in New York for the same reasons you don't want JJ in Washington because Mariota will play. If JJ sat, JJ has to play immediately. The first time Daniel Jones has a bad game coming off that knee surgery, the fans are going to be over it.
That's true.
And you're rushing the job. They got Drew Lock. We got Drew Lock this offseason.
Oh, they got Drew Lock. They got Drew
Lock this offseason. They still got
they're not going to get him.
They won't go quarterback there because at that point.
Because Drew Lock's a young player behind. Yeah, they won't.
Yeah, so Drew Lock is like a younger veteran behind the $40 million guy.
Yeah, because if that's right. Because
you still got DeVito, who won 3 games for them out of their 6 last year.
No, you're right, Mo. You're right. No, you're right.
So you go wide. So you.
I know I got Drew Lock. That's right. Okay, you're right.
So you go wide receiver because that's the biggest need. But
that's true.
All the additions this year for the Giants have been on the front 7 and on the offensive line. The Giants have signed.
So Giants have passed. So who's after the Giants then?
Huh?
Who's after the Giants then? Who's after the Giants?
Tennessee's next. Tennessee's the 7th pick.
They like that quarterback. They like that. What's next? Who's after that?
Tennessee's going to stay with Will Levis.
Yeah, Will Levis. Who's after that?
I don't know who's number. Atlanta's number 8.
Oh, that's done. Kirk.
They got Kirk Cousins.
So they're going to go edge rusher probably.
10 is who?
Then the Bears got 9.
The Bears got 9.
They're done. Who's 10?
There goes another receiver or edge rusher right there.
Who's 10?
10 is the Jets. They got Aaron Rodgers.
They got who's their back?
The Jets are not going to take JJ McCarthy because Robert Saleh, if he has a bad season this year, won't be there.
Yeah, so you can't have a player. Yeah.
So they're going to get somebody that can.
Who's the backup though? Who's the backup of Aaron? Who's the backup? Who's Aaron's backup?
I mean, Zach Wilson's still on the roster. They told me to request a trade, but they signed Tyrod Taylor.
All right, so next, you're right. That's a good one too.
Next, 11 Minnesota.
But you're right. They don't have to trade. They don't have
to trade up. Like people are
Only people have to trade is if it depends on Minnesota. Who's and that's Denver, right?
Minnesota, Denver. They're going to have to jockey.
So Denver. So they would have to. Yeah. So if Minnesota would have to probably trade with Chicago, if they because I heard they like JJ a lot. So they have to trade with Chicago to get over Denver.
At worst, they trade with Chicago and get that
Chicago. Yeah.
So they could leapfrog everybody.
They leapfrog. Yeah, that's it. So you're right. In essence, JJ does. Yeah. They don't gotta. Nobody has to.
They don't have to. Nobody has to.
Nobody has to. Yeah, you're
Or
right.
even if it's JJ, even if it's not Jay, let's say Washington does pick JJ. No one has to rush for Jaden Daniels.
They'll trade up. Somebody will trade up for Jaden Daniels, though.
Somebody will trade up for Jaden Daniels.
Because if
Jaden Daniels doesn't go to New England, if Jaden Daniels doesn't go to New England at 3,
he would go to New England at 3.
That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't go to New England at 3,
New England won't pick Drake? Because now you're looking at the situation because you could Washington go to get JJ. Drake could go to New England.
I think Drake will go to New England. I think Drake will go to New England.
But then who's Washington going to draft in?
No, he's talking about if they take JJ. He said they took JJ.
If Washington took JJ at 2, the Washington JJ at 2,
which has been a rumor too.
And which they're rumored to. New England takes Drake May. Jaden Daniels is still on the board.
I think he goes to. I ain't gonna lie. I think the Giants.
Too many teams. Everybody will trade up at that point.
Everybody will trade up for him.
Everybody. They wouldn't even risk him falling.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, that's true. Because he'd be too high on somebody's board.
Yeah. He's probably quarterback number 1 on half the board.
Half board. Yeah. Some people might like him over Caleb. That's true.
So,
regardless of what you think, a lot of people So JJ Washington, Jaden would go. I think after Arizona, because Arizona's definitely they're not going to pass up on getting Marvin. I don't think they will.
No.
Where's 5?
Go ahead. Tell Arizona, please mess that up.
Exactly. I know. Mess it up.
Tell them, please mess it up.
Yeah, trade the pick. Just trade.
Please. Hey, NFL history has a Harrison looking good in blue and white previous.
But I will tell you though, if Jaden falls to Yadomo, I can see Jaden. I can see y'all getting him now.
If Jaden falls to the Giants, I'm not. All bets are off. That's it.
Yeah, they'll probably get him. Yeah, because it's a different. Because it's to the argument. Even though I have questions, I think that his skill set is different. That's why his skill set is different.
Yes.
You can't deny his skill set.
Like I said, Washington and Adam Peters have they have the keys or the rock to put a ripple in this NFL draft.
In the entire draft.
Yeah. But I'll give them credit. Like they are no one really knows what they're going to do. Because just not too long ago, Jaden Daniels was, Albert Breer said Jaden Daniels, Washington's leaning towards Jaden Daniels. Now all of a sudden it's been about JJ McCarthy. Then, before that, it was definitely Drake May. So it's like, before that, it was they're trading up to get Caleb. So no one knows. Like, that's the one thing I give him credit for. Like, compared to the Rivera years or whatever, like, they are definitely playing their cards correctly to a point where they're not showing you their hands. They're not like, they're going, they're going quarterback, but you don't know who.
You don't know who. And I think they like it that way. I think they like it that way because it keeps a buzz around this team, which is a positive buzz and not anything negative. And it makes people want to guess and make guys like us in this podcast stay lit or stay on point because we can discuss it. So,
no, I love it, man. It's fresh. It should. I hope it stays this way for real. In terms of any signing or whatever, because they tend to show their hand a lot.
JJ McCarthy done shook up the whole NFL world, man.
He has. So
we're gonna let this thing play out, man.
I agree. I totally agree. But this has been a dope show, man. Hey, wait, is there another question you want to add, Glenn, before I close this out, or you want
no? We good.
All right. So this has been great, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that I want to send the same message I had on another pod. We're getting the same message for Commander fans. I just don't need y'all to talk indefinites. That's all I care about. Like, y'all don't know a quarterback's going to be good. Y'all don't know whatever. Like, it's okay. I'd rather you phrase it this way. I prefer Jaden Daniels, and keep it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And don't go there. Don't say I prefer Jaden Daniels and then show, well, I don't like Drake May, and this is why I don't like Drake May, and chop up his stuff. Because the next person can do the same thing and say, you know what? I don't like Jaden Daniels. I can show you a bunch of Jaden Daniels clips that makes him look a certain way. So all I'm just saying, Stop talking indefinites. Don't say like, hey, Drake May gonna be trash. He's another Sam Howell. Stop talking indefinites. Don't do that. just say, I prefer this quarterback. And gas your quarterback up. I'm cool with that. Gas your quarterback up. I may not agree, but that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But don't try to go ahead and say this and then find evidence that this quarterback looks a certain way. Because I can find the next person can do that. I can find bad footage of JJ. I can find bad footage of Drake. I can find bad footage of Caleb Williams. I can find bad footage of Jaden Daniels. It don't matter, bro. At the end of the day, just stop talking indefinites. Because some of y'all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all the same folks that said Zach Wilson was going to be like that. Or y'all the same folks that said Zach Wilson, that Washington should trade up to get Zach Wilson. I'm not lying. Read your X accounts. Go back to your past. Go to 2021. I think it's 2021. Go back there. And then look what you said. I guarantee you're going to be scratching your head and said, ooh, I said that. You did. All right. So obviously your track record with quarterbacks ain't the best. Just saying.
Listen, there's a whole history of the NFL whose track record of quarterbacks ain't the best. So
I agree.
Let it play out. Let it play out, fans.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, it's a new regime. Let the new regime do what they need to do, and let the chips fall where they may in the fall.
Let them cook. Let them cook, man. Yep. And before we close this show out, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts for now. But I think that Google Podcasts is going to change in April, like April 1st. It won't be Google Podcasts anymore. So, but make sure you search all Burgundy and Gold Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG at ABG_everything. And like our All Burgundy and Gold Everything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Everything YouTube channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the red subscribe button, like this video. All right, man, this has been a dope show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate Glenn and Mo as always. This is episode 300. We do it big. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene at Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. We out.
This is